Hello, I am Janine Martinez. Good evening, and I'm going to be talking about how I got to where I'm at, essentially. So, I recall my first semester in grad school, which was about a year and a half to 2 years ago. We're almost there at the end, and how I was coming into this program with a different idea of what I imagine it to be now. My undergrad was in secondary education English, and I love education. And I thought education has to look like how I experienced it in my undergrad when I was in high school, middle school, elementary school, etc. And find a way to make education work for me in a traditional classroom setting. It took grad school for me to understand and realize that while I love education, I just wanted the part of teaching people something and applying that to something that I loved and wanted to do. So now I'm here. I don't think I want to keep staying in a traditional classroom setting, but I want to explore what it looks like outside of that and, keep teaching in that sense. And I love the outdoors, so this is where we're going with that. And I love getting people to feel like they belong in a space because they do. English 626 was lots of fun for me, and I remember working with Ira Allen and loving my conference paper topic. This was spring of 2025, so last year. And my paper was titled Examining Women in Extreme Sports Uninvited. And The Uninvited is a movie/movie series and also an invitational event of all women writers, non-binary writers, etc., and snowboarding. I also really love snowboarding. That paper and research explored how feminist-led digital interventions in sports media function rhetorically. I argued that women and non-binary athletes deploy mimicry, effect, and feminist rhetorical strategies to carve out new spaces of visibility. And all of that would have never started without English 562, which was an introduction to rhetoric writing and digital media studies. That was the first class I took for this program. I did a paper titled Expanding Inclusivity, Developing Multimedia Platforms and Programs to Engage Underrepresented Communities in Snow Sports, because I really love snowboarding. This was brought on about bringing marginalized perspectives to snow sports and the perceived inaccessibility of the outdoors and the mountain itself. I am Mexican American, and a lot of my work and interests are grounded in spite. I have been told that outdoor activities are something that we just don't do. And we being, my family saying that, like, oh, we don't do that. We don't go surfing. We don't go snowboarding. We don't explore the outdoors. That's just something we don't do. And while that may seem harmless at first, when you hear it time and time again, you begin to believe it. And it's a saying that felt like justification, justifying that, because I don't see myself or anyone like me in this space, obviously I do not belong here. And that is just not right. So I exist to challenge that. As I've mentioned before, I love the outdoors, and this program has given me the freedom and opportunity for creativity in a way I didn't expect. So I am thankful that I am able to explore the topic of language, belonging, and access in outdoor spaces, which is what I landed on for my research in the end. Ooh, super exciting. I wanted to explore what makes someone an outdoor participant, and how do you get someone to stay engaged, and why do people like the outdoors in the first place, and all of that focused within a higher education setting. There is so much to explore, and I love the idea of contributing to a space that has given so much to me. Existing research is minimal, so I hope to contribute to that. And identifying the gaps is super important because I want to understand what is there and what is there not, and how can I contribute, as I said before, back into this space. I look to highlight the need for research that examines both the production and interpretation of messaging within higher education outdoor programs. So looking at outdoor recreation at Northern Arizona University, and maybe even the surrounding areas of Flagstaff, thinking about our high schools and the narratives of outdoor participation. So thinking about what I'm worried about and excited about, of course, I think a lot about the why. Why am I here in the first place in grad school? And when I get to that, I think I feel a mix of excitement and uncertainty. One thing I'm most aware of is how interpretive this work can be. Not just like, oh, like it's like I think it's this, but more so looking at how students read and respond to outdoor programming for the messaging. And the meaning isn't always fixed, and it's shaped by their identities, their experience, and the amount of access that they may or may not have had growing up and growing into themselves. That makes this research, I think, really interesting, but it also means there's a level of care that has to be taken with this. And I have to be careful about how I represent these individuals' perspectives, especially within a small sample size, or like when I'm looking at just like certain individuals, not just like nitpicking. What I'm most excited about is how tangible this research feels to me. I'm looking at real campus materials. I loved it last semester, looking at all the web pages and the Instagram posts, and even like little program descriptions of like, oh, if you want to go rock climbing, here's what it looks like for you. And I really like that. So hearing directly from students and how those messages land has been incredibly eye-opening, and I can't wait to just hear more of that perspective. And I think that's my goal. My biggest goal is just to get more. I need a bigger size of sample size. I've really enjoyed combining the rhetorical analysis with the interviews and the surveys because it lets me look at both institutional messaging and student interpretation side by side, and seeing how maybe small design or language choices can affect whether someone feels truly invited into these outdoor spaces or intimidated. And that's really meaningful to me. That's the most meaningful part of the project, is how can we change this, because I want people to feel that they belong, because they do. So this research connects closely to my future goals. I'm interested in work that focuses on access, on belonging, and communication overall, especially in higher education. Through this project, I'm hoping to develop some skills, and I know that I am, in qualitative research, some analysis, and translating my findings into some actionable items. What can I recommend to fix and or elevate, right? I'm also learning how to sit with my uncertainty, which I think is essential for research and professional work more broadly. I think more personally, this project reflects my interest in challenging assumptions about who belongs in certain spaces, especially spaces like the outdoors that are often framed as maybe, oh, this is neutral or truly accessible, when there's a lot of underlying things that I think people sweep under the rug, or maybe it's hard to acknowledge or even see. I hope to continue doing this research that centers students' voices and helps institutions, cities, communities, cultures think more critically about how their communication shapes participation and belonging. That's about it. I'm super excited for this class. Thank you for listening.